So, one of the issues that I've been having has been consistently being abraded, attacked, or maybe even just hated on by individuals that haven't had the life goals that I've had. And what you'll find is it'll be people that you've never talked to before in your entire life, or you never even considered talking to, telling you about the way how your life choices are not correct. Um, the last time you probably experienced having a lot of camaraderie with your life goals is either in college or high school, but not in the real world. You might have a few individuals that are similar to you. Most times, the people around you are not at your job to make you feel good, they're at a job to do jobs. And so I'm just going through my emails for my life in the past, maybe 4 or 5 years, having problems with employment and recognizing that what was around me were people that hated people that with degrees, had not planned on later parts of their lives and had no life goals, and were just kind of like fleet at the moment, like people that don't plan for things and didn't have any plans for other parts of their lives. One of the most interesting things about these individuals usually is that they have very shallow lives and they probably haven't had a lot of significant things happen to them that would like give them a reason to have direction. One of the most interesting things that I found at my high powered job, where I had a lot of people that now I see were very jealous of where I was, there was a humbleness in almost all of the people that I worked with and for, because a lot of them had either endured various types of cancers, various types of accidents, various types of loss of family members, various like deaths and things in their family. And so I was with people that it looked like they were like elitist or something, but God had humbled them before they got to that high powered job. And they were the best and the better people that I've met ever since leaving that company and being in the masses of people that would purport that, oh, well, poor people are just as good as anyone else. The most stingy, snobbiest, rudest, deaf, dumb, and mute thing that I've ever encountered in my entire life has been poor people. And just very, they don't grow roots. They have kids and they have lots of kids and they don't necessarily plan for those kids. And then the other part of their life is trying to figure out what to do with these kids that they had, as opposed to planning on having children, enjoying their adulthood, and then having children, and then planning, before you have those kids, what you're going to do so that they're financially secure. I have a lot of like people that are on life rafts where they're like, oh my God, I have all these kids. What am I going to do to pay for them? And they get gully, they get nasty, they get dirty, they get dark, they do fucked up shit to people, and they're really fucked up people. And you think that that would be the salt of the earth, but it ends up that they are what ends up being the people that are probably a bit more well rounded in their lives are the ones cleaning up after them all the time. And so they are messy. They have messy lives. They leave messy kids. And then, the kids in the correctional facilities and stuff are their kids because nobody had time to go and get them the psychological counseling that they needed to balance themselves if they don't find ways to go and stick knives in people's car tires and break windows and, have multiple kids to, yeah, you get my point. So keep yourself separate from that. If you are going to college, you are a different kind of person. You don't need to be around community college kids to validate yourself. Your mind and your way of thinking is so different. It's not worth your time to explain, and it's really dangerous for you to get close to their black holes, white holes, vats of nothingness that they sieve out what they seem as though what they try to do would be to like make it seem as though they're really good at finding quality or they're really good at knowing what a good person is. And I've had jobs where people thought that after one day of training, I wasn't gonna be able to do the job, and it was just like making measurements and writing numbers down. I'm like, do you know what my other job used to be? I used to handle explosive chemicals, and I have to do like, if I go over by 0.01 grams, I could cause an explosion. And you're telling me about what? So what I see now is there are classes, and there are classes in education, and there are classes in your employment, and you need to treat those lower classes like they're infectious, like it's a plague. You need to be afraid of it because it's so destructive, and they're so like their words are so destructive that they leave themselves to be nothing because they are really good at generating shit, generating lowness, generating nothingness, and they generate nothing for their children either. And so you see these generational poverty things, and you think that they look as though it's just so sad and they're stuck in trailer homes. No, they probably put themselves in there, and they kept themselves in there. And if you read the book White Trash, it talks about their natural proclivity, and the proclivities within Caucasian low incomes that end up staying within poverty. And then, there's a whole other realm of African American lower incomes that have that same personality type, and they stay stuck. But it was so profound to me that all this jealousy and all of these hateful things that came towards me, and the people that hated me most had gone through nothing other than just being upset that they were poor. Um, that, I'm talking about friends who watched their mothers die of ovarian cancer over a year and stayed at the hospital while she was dying and watched her die. And those were my friends. My friends knew what it was like to lose someone, or to, have a sibling and bury a sibling, or to watch a spouse bleed to death in front of you. You know, these are the people that I worked with, and I had such hatred towards them from others. I did not know where I was a place that was an ascended place, and it was necessary for me to be there. And coming back from where I am now, I'm about to be pulled on by another group of people. What often this is what happens: you'll say no, and they'll try to make you go. If you say no to something because you think there's something that's just not right, believe yourself and do anything you can to find another means, because usually the first no, there's something in your spirit that knows that something's wrong. And I keep on encountering these males. I finally have a boyfriend that can kind of put a placement over me where when I say no, I can mean no, and I don't have males like pestering me all the time. And even in that stopping of that pestering, like I get abused, because it's like, well, why can't I get close to you? And it's like, dude, this is like 5 years of beating back pastors, Christian men, grocery store workers. I'm like, every person that I encounter, you think you deserve a piece of me because you say something to me? Yes. And there are people that think that, they own you because you go through their line in the fucking grocery store. And I've like fought grocery store people because I'm like, why are you talking to me? There's no reason that I'm not here to have a conversation with you. I'd just like to go through the line. I've never met such a needy, evil, useless group of continuous hamster wheeling. And no wonder they get nothing done, and they get nowhere because you can't plan, because every day the life that they live is about moment to moment, and there's no long term. So like walking off a job is not good for your long term goals, or stealing from a job is not good for your long term goals. Well, I'm in a city that is so persistent and having so many thieves. Like everywhere I go, I tell them I work at Macy's, and they mention stealing as though it's something that I've done. And I'm thinking to myself, is it that what is the word, persistent, that your entire city is full of that many criminals? And I say that because I've never in my entire life encountered all of these things until I got to this portion of my life. So it's really like, don't let people drag you into that kind of lifestyle, because they're nothing for a reason. And they'll always show you the best of them. They won't show you the bottom of the barrel. Well, when I went to the cult with the great pastor that was a pastor of pastors, he was horrible to women. And he admitted to not liking to hear them talk. He didn't want to hear what they had to say, blah, blah, blah. He was a mean bastard, okay? And he had lots of women that were helping him. And I see some of those girls, I've seen them abused. I've seen and heard things from his mouth and others that were just unbelievable. Not everybody is an asshole. And there are people that aren't assholes. And you can find non asshole people and be treated like you should be, including employment. And if you have too much white trash around you, start with citrus water. Vitamin water has citrus water and tropical citrus water. Those are bitter people. Lemon yogurt, bitterness. You get bitterness away from you. Have a few weeks where you just have a bunch of lemon water or a bunch of lemon yogurt, and watch the bitterness get away from you. And it might even move you, because these are bitter times and people are very bitter about things that don't make any sense. Keep your goals where they should be, and then keep going, because even when I was growing up, I never had a stop for my desires for my financial or my academic future to be improved with time. And so I'm with people now that think that food stamps is the only way, and they don't work. And so I'm in a community of people, their whole community thinks that it's abnormal to work, and that they think that women should sit at home, and they're poor as fuck. The median income in this area, median, is $20,000, and it is 2020. Think about that.